Hi everyone, my name is Henry Kasperzak, and I attended this year's New York Trout Unlimited Youth Camp. Thank you all so much for giving me this opportunity. I had an amazing time, and I'm excited to let you all know about my experience. First day, we met with Kirk Klingensmith, and he taught us all about casting. Here he's showing us the mechanics of how the fly line throws your fly. Here he is speaking. We went out back behind the lodge where we were staying. He gave us hands-on instruction on how to improve our technique and form, and all the other camp counselors walked around and helped as well. Here we have Mike Walchko, camp director. He was very helpful through all of it. Gave each person an individual experience and gave us all instruction every single day. Here we are tying knots. We had big shark hooks. We had a fly line that we were practicing with. So we spent about 20 minutes the first night learning how to tie knots for the fishing. Here we are at the West Branch Angler Resort's pond. That was the first night. We got out there and got some bluegill and some bass. All of the counselors came out and came to every kid and taught them, what we're doing wrong and helped us how to do it right. So everyone got on some fish, some little larges and some bullhead. Every morning we had a new tying lesson with a different presenter. Here we have John Apgar telling us about cascade dry flies, and we have Gavin, one of the camp counselors, telling us about nymphs. So they give us a quick little lesson, and then we would all go to our own bench. We would start tying a couple flies, and they'd go around and give us pointers. Here we are with Brian from Trout Tornado. He taught us about tying streamers, and then later he taught us how to fish the streamers. That was pretty cool. Bob Lindquist, he's a guide down there, and he taught us about wet flies. So each of the presenters brought their own materials to share with the class, and some time to present and then go around and give their input on our flies. Here we are tying. So behind the lodge that we were staying at, they had just stocked the pond a couple days before we went. So we all got on some little stockers, and some brookies got in through a little creek in the back. So we got some nice native brookies too over there. There's Gavin down there. That morning he taught us how to tie the nymphs, and there he is fishing them and showing us what he was doing. He was tight lining there, so he was walking us through every step of what he was doing, and he didn't get any fish. It was still fun watching him. Here we are fishing Hale Eddy. There's Miss Dolores. That was the one night I caught a fish. Nice brown trout, about 4 inches. I didn't catch anything else the rest of the trip, but I still remember that little brown running right into my net. Here we are at Quagga Creek. We brought a big net and we had it downstream, and we would kick up the rocks and try to stir up all the bugs in there to dislodge them. And then we would collect them in the net, and we would go through and put in a little bucket. And here we are back at camp looking at the bugs that we collected. We have sheets so we can practice identifying the different bugs that we found in the creek. There we are looking at bugs. This is Dreamcatcher Lodge. It was really foggy that night. Whenever the fog rolled through, fish would just shut down. So I had nothing, of course. That's me out there. It was raining too, so everyone else went in, and they were under the warm pavilion, but I stayed out there, tried to tough it out, but you know how it goes. We came back that night, and there was no power. We didn't know what happened, but there was no power. We made the best of it though. Kids brought their phone flashlights out and kept tying, and we all just did our own thing as if there was still power. Here we are with the DEC doing electroshocking. It was pretty cool. For those of you who don't know, they put like a little electrical signal to the water, and it stuns the fish so you can scoop them up and look at them. We only netted one trout. I netted it actually. They think maybe it's because they're doing like construction on a bridge right above where we were surveying, so that could have contributed to it. That was really cool. We caught some eels, some daces and stuff. So it was fun to look at this stuff, even though we didn't get many trout. Bob Mead and his son gave us an amazing cookout. We had sweeties and hot dogs and chips and soda and everything. We got to hang out in the pavilion before we went out fishing. There's me and Ken. Where is he? We had a couple players, but they wouldn't take anything. We were looking at maybe 4 fish, like right in front of us, and maybe 20 yards of water.
Was Ken fishing at the same time?
No.
Oh,
So
I just want to make sure.
Thank you for your question. So each night we'd have a different fishing buddy who would give us their own specialty and their own knowledge. So that night I had Ken, a different night I had Dolores, another night I had one of the counselors. So every night we got someone new to fish with, and they would devote all of their time and all their focus onto us fishing. So that was really cool. So you got some personal experiences and personal knowledge. Those are some cool pictures. Here we are with Brian from Trout Tornado again. So after we tied the streamers in the morning, we met on in the afternoon and he taught us how to fish them. This was at Gentleman's Pool, I think. And he came around to every one of us and gave us some pointers. This was the last night we fished Balls Eddy. A bunch of kids got on fish that night. I didn't, but other people did. This kid, it was his first time ever picking up a fly rod at the start of camp, and he outfished all of us. So good job to him.
Because I had them.
Okay. There's some pictures of the sunset on that last night. I still talk to most of the guys from camp, so we'll send each other pictures of our ties and of the fish we caught, and I talk to some of them at least every day, probably. There I am, getting an award from, there's Mike Walchko and Bob Mead. They're the camp organizers. They gave me an award for being the most helpful. So they had me carrying the coolers and carrying the boots. So they put me to work, but they gave me a net for it, so I'll take it. Here's all of us. This is our group photo. This was at Dreamcatcher. And here's a silly one. And there's Jerry waving goodbye. So John Apgar stopped by when he was telling us about Catskill Dries, and he dropped off 4 or 5 big totes that you put in your basement, totes full of fly tying materials that he had from the Catskill Fly Tying Museum. And he donated us to the camp, and he gave everyone as much as they could carry. So I filled my suitcase full of all this stuff, tons and tons. He actually gave me the first pick because we had a little chat after his lesson, and he also gave me a 2-year membership to this Catskills Tie Flying Guild. So he's very, very, very helpful. He is a very nice guy. So I just want to thank you all very, very much for giving me this opportunity. Western New York Trout Unlimited Chapter, Rich Products, Joe Morgan, thank you for helping us get into camp. The organizers, Kim and Mike Walchko and Bob Mead. This was an amazing experience. I made some connections that I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. As I said, I still talk to all these guys pretty much every day, and we share our stories about getting out in the water and everything. So I had an amazing time. I learned a ton. I'm way better caster now than I was before. So thank you all very much for this experience.